Namaste, this is Danny J. Lewis, also known as Enzyme Black, with a video for Plugin Boutique taking a look at this great new analog synth called Carbone Electra. Now, the music you can hear is comprised of unique sound design that I've created for the video, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to explain what I did to create 3 unique instruments. Let's start things off with the bass. So I've got it soloed here. Let's have a listen. I'm going to show you my settings on the Carbone Electra. Now when you listen to this, if you're used to synthesis, you'll be able to pick out the fact that it's the square wave. You can see that set over here on the oscillator 1. I have in fact only got oscillator 1 working here. You can see that by the fact it's the only one of these volume controls that's set up to maximum. The others are set to 0, so it's literally a 1 oscillator patch, and I've reduced the poly over here. Now when I'm adjusting this control, you can see the display up here update, so it's only capable of playing 1 note at once. That means it's a monophonic patch. Now the other thing that I'm doing is I'm not using any of the effects here. I am using a dash of reverb from Logic here. If you want, let me just take this off so it bypasses that and you're going to hear just the raw bass sound. So that's what's going on there, a little bit of splash from the reverb. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you here the fact that the filter is being used. This is a low pass filter. Okay, so that's reducing frequencies above the cutoff value. I've got this set down here at about 200 or so hertz. And then what I'm doing is I'm applying some envelope modulation here that's tying into this section over here. So I'm going to show you here if we basically adjust this to 0, so there's going to be no filter envelope applied. The cutoff frequency here, 200, let me open that up. So what we're doing is we're modulating this cutoff frequency by the envelope over here. So let's take it back down to 200. And what happens is that the filter frequency goes up. And I can't remember the amount that I had this set. I'm just going to set it somewhere over here. So it goes up to the highest frequency, which is determined by the modulation amount here. Then it dips down to that warmer frequency. And so that creates that nice kind of bouncy texture. And of course, throughout the track, you could modulate this. So you could record that with automation, or you could map a MIDI controller to it. Add some nice kind of variation throughout the progression of the tune. So a couple of other things going on here. The volume envelope here is set to be quite nice and percussive. So I've got like a nice short attack and a short decay as well. No sustain really on here because I didn't want it to feel like it was a long note being played. I want it to be quite nice and plucky. Relatively short release here on both the amplifier and the filter envelope. So that's pretty much it. It's a very simple patch. I've got the master retrigger on here so that every time I play the key, it retriggers the envelope from the beginning. That adds to that nice kind of sharp bite to the sound. And let's put it in context again and have a listen. I'm going to modulate the amount here. So that's the bass sound. So we're on to what I think is the most distinctive sound in the composition, and this is the stutter chord. So let's have a listen in solo. Now listen to the rhythmic element of that sound. This is a filter movement that's coming through a very interesting part of Carbone Electra. Let's take a look. So you see the step envelope down here. That's really adding that extra dimension to this sound. Okay, so look, let me show you what I did on this. All right, this is another 1 oscillator patch. You can see that here. Once again, oscillator 1 volume is only being used. But the thing is that's different with this is I want you to come down to the section over here, the master section. You see the number of voices. Now I'm just going to move this and you can see master multiplier is set to 2. Now what it does is it creates a unison effect, so it thickens out the sound, makes it sound broader, wider, and also detunes the sound slightly to create that nice kind of warm, slightly chorused effect on there. So that's occurring, that's what's making a difference on this. The other thing is that there is a delay on here. I'm going to take this off, and also let me take off the step envelope. So let's bring this down. So we're not modulating the cutoff via the step envelope. So have a listen. Such a huge contrast. And when I was doing the sound design, what I was doing was going for a kind of warm pad sound. And then I thought, no, it's a little bit dry and boring. So why don't I bring in the step envelope? So that's the real thing about this. Okay, so look, you can see once again the filter modulation is being applied here. Just going to bring it back to the beginning. Cutoff frequency low, but this time with a bit of resonance. And it's great to see this display here indicating what's happening to the sound. It's a sawtooth on the oscillator, and you can see that represented here. So it's a very simple, basic sound. Let me show you what it sounds like actually without the voices. There we go. So without that master multiplier, increased amount of voices, and without the thickening detuning, we don't get that real nice kind of warm contemporary sound there. Already that just jumps out in the mix when we do that. So let's bring on once again the step envelope. Let me take this up. Makes such a huge difference. And what it is that you can paint these steps in and create your own rhythmic variations. In fact, it's really nice without that bright hit first. Something like this at the beginning would be really, really interesting. I really like that. So this is a great grid. You can choose the kind of wave selects here, lots of different options, and you can get in there and reverse stuff if you need to as well. So there's a real great selection of very usable envelopes that you can use in there. So I'm just going to go back where we were, just dragging it all the way down to the simple ramp. Just going to show you here with the control key, you can get it and ramp it up the other side. So very flexible. You can adjust the grid speed here as well. I'll show you a variation on another one of the presets. So back again. Let's bring the delay in. What I really like about this is the fact that if I just show you up the top, I'm on 16th dotted grid. So that creates that lovely, interesting timing. Big fan of those dotted grids when it comes to delays. And of course, you could get in there and adjust the filter cutoff as well here. So let's do that. Let's take this off of solo. Let's hear it in context again. And let's have a play around with that filter. It's important to remember that the step envelope is relative to the cutoff frequency here. So that's why you still had that nice movement, but all based upon the position of the filter. So that's another nice one. The stutter chord. I'm going to move on to that gated string on the next section. So to take a look at the gated string, I've opened up the piano roll to show you the sustained notes here. Let's have a listen. The reason the sound is short and percussive is because of the step envelope, and this in this instance is being used to modulate the volume. So you can see the amplifier knob here rotated fully clockwise. Let me reduce that. So with no modulation, it's just a pure sustained note. We can adjust this. So now we get a full difference between maximum volume and silence. And this time I've got the grid set on the 32 subdivisions. So we've got a nice rapid stuttered gated effect. It sounds as if there is a sound between the gaps, and the reason for that is because the release is set relatively long here on the actual envelope. I'm not using the filter here, so ignore the filter envelope over there. But what I am using is a phaser. So this is one of Carbone Electra's built-in effects. It's a real nice vintage phaser. Let me take that off. And now I'll turn it on. Couple more things to point out. This is once again a sawtooth patch. It's a single oscillator patch as well. And then also over here onto the voice master multiplier, I've set that to 3, so it's a thicker sound than the previous patch. And I've also increased the stereo width, so I've gone for the widest you could possibly go. So this has got a real nice flavor. Once again, very much created by the fact that Carbone Electra has this step envelope section. So let's hear it once again in context with the other elements created by Carbone Electra. So in summary, I really like this synth. Yes, it's another virtual analog, but that step matrix makes all the difference. You can clearly see that and hear it in the video. Just like the Big Kick plugin, it's an exclusive plugin boutique, so head on over there, go and check out the demo and see what you think for yourselves.